Hello, welcome. It's Liz from West Star Tarot, and today I'm going to do a video response to the tag Oracle Decks with Attitude. And I originally saw this done by Laura at Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books, but Laura said the tag was originated by Tegan at Cosmic Creeper. So that's where this came from. And I have since watched Tegan's. So I guess I wanted to say, Tegan mentioned that, often in the tarot community, we hear people talking about hug decks. And sometimes that's what we need, and that's the best way to go. But other times we need to be kind of woken up or in our face or, confronted or challenged. Sometimes that's what we need. And so instead of pulling out a hug deck, we would pull out one of these oracles with attitude. I love that. I love how Tegan framed this. And so the thing about these decks is that, at least the ones that I've pulled out, they're not all confrontive cards. They're not all in your face. There's kind of a mixture, a balance, I guess, if you will. But definitely these decks don't soft pedal it. Even some of the less confrontive keywords on the cards, when you read in the book what they mean, it's like, oh, okay. So anyway, without further ado, let me start in. This one is by Monica Bodersky. It's called Between the Worlds, and Shadow Casting with Bone and Curio Oracle cards. And so what Monica has done here is she has taken items that people often use to cast with, bones and curios, and she has transferred them, through her art onto oracle cards. And these are small, yay for me, I can shuffle them, cards. And some of them, when you look at them, they don't really seem that confrontive. But when you look at the guidebook, let me pull that out. It is a chunky guidebook, and it's shadow casting with bone and curio oracle cards, as I mentioned. So let's see, just to flip open here, the guidebook. So this is Coffin Nail, card 32, and it's safety/threat. So all of the cards have kind of this duality on them. So how Monica does this is she starts out with a story related to the item. And then she talks about, she'll talk about the item itself. And she will then give you a short message. And then there's some advice, which is quite a bit longer. And then after that, she talks about the reversed meaning, and then has questions that you can, like journal prompts, or what she calls questions for reflection. So that's my first one. Up next is one of the more recent decks that I've gotten, called The Rooted Woman Oracle by Sharon Blackie, and artwork by Hannah Willow. And I have a couple of oracle decks that Hannah did. This is a mass market deck, but Hannah has some indie decks, a couple of them that I know of and have. And they look like hug decks, the artwork, but then when you get into it, there's a little bit of mixture there too. And it's funny because I just started reading this book by Sharon Blackie called Haggitude, and I thought that was kind of funny since this is a tag about decks with attitude. And so this is kind of like hags with attitude, or older women with attitude. I just started that. Anyway, I just thought I'd show that because I thought the title was kind of funny. So here we see this is lake, and the keywords are what lurks beneath. This is the Morrigan, death and rebirth. Cairn, portal to mystery. The threshold. The fall. Sea, plumbing the depths. And I just love this artwork by Hannah. Temptation. Bog, stagnation. Go do it this way. The descent. Crossroads. Island, boundedness, and isolation. The call. And this one, I did a client reading a while ago, and to end the reading, I pulled a card for the client or the querent, and this is the card we got, and wow, it is in your face. Cliff, standing on the edge. Quest. Miss, divine madness. Matcha, strength and endurance. Reclaiming the feminine. The wasteland. An old crane woman, guardian of the threshold. So that's just a few cards. I think there's 56 cards in this deck, and I really like it. I brought it, I was recently on vacation, and I brought this with me, and I pulled a card from it quite frequently. All right, next up is Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle. Again, beautiful artwork. This is by Serafina Mesa. She also created the Winnie the Pooh Tarot, and the artwork is by Kat Amsel. And I think the artwork in this deck is just gorgeous. So the first one is Shadow and Light. Demons, Shadow Self, Integration. Death Valley, emptiness, hopelessness, challenges. And again, this is a deck that has a really great guidebook. So one thing I've noticed about almost all, but I think one of these decks, is that they have really thorough, in-depth guidebooks. This is the Scavenger, Desperation, Scarcity, Wanting. Setting Sun, Depression, Habit, Suffering. Bleeding Heart, Rawness, Vulnerability, Compassion. Poisons and Toxins, not really a hug-sounding card. Fear, negative thoughts, self-loathing. Treachery, betrayal, mistrust, deception. Thunder and Lightning, painful realization, inner conflict. Third Eye Blind, ignoring intuition, self-doubt. Karmic Web, troubles, misfortune, amends. And then finally, Predator and Prey, chasing, grasping, desperation. So that is Earth, Moon, and Shadow. And then up next is a deck by, an oracle deck by Celia Melville, L'Oracle des Reflets. And Celia is a French creator, tarot and oracle creator. She has several other decks. I know one of the tarot decks is Le Renard, which is Fox. I don't have that. This is the only deck I have by her. And let me just show you this. This is the first card that I pulled out to show, and there's the back. So how she created this deck, the artwork for this deck is really interesting. She took walnut shells or walnut hulls and steeped them in boiling water to make like a tea out of the walnut hulls. And then she dipped the paper into the tea and let it dry. And then after it was dry, she let the tea stain on the paper, fire up her imagination, and then she just drew with pen and ink on top of it. So this one is fear. Let's see, the next one up is infertility, which I think is interesting because we see a lot of decks that have cards that are talking about fertility. This is talking about infertility. Manipulation, the mountain, shadow. This one I think is interesting, conditioning. And she showed a bonsai. And if you're familiar with bonsai, they are kept in small, they grow, usually the plants grow much larger, but they're kept in small containers. So their roots don't grow, and then the tops don't grow as much. But in addition, the tops are constantly trimmed way back, and the roots are often trimmed back. So they condition the plant to stay small and in this particular shape that they want it to be in. What did I do here? Sorry. This is exclusion. Lie. I love the crossed fingers there. Conflict. Love that one. The shadow. The match. And this isn't about matchmaking. It's about having a light shone on and realizing, oh, choice, justice, the stare, secret, armor, limits. So that is Oracle of Reflection by Celia Melville. And then, oh, I haven't done, okay, two more, sorry. This is a mass market lantern oracle. And it is written by Angelina Mirabito. And the illustration is Yuli Alejo. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. So this deck is, the concept or premise behind this deck is that instead of 3 stages in women's lives, there are 4. So she had, instead of just maiden, mother, crone, she has put in a stage between mother and crone called guardian. And I really like that there's another stage. In fact, years ago, the Coven or Women's Circle that I was in, we were all kind of, of a similar age, and we were growing past our mothering years, but yeah, we didn't feel like we were crones yet. And so we called that in-between stage the queen. But I quite like guardian. So anyway, here we have emptied, the ending and beginning. Can you see that? Misalignment. Distorted perceptions. Confusion. False beliefs. Distorted desire. This one I put, it's not negative at all. It's radical self-acceptance. But in the book, in the guidebook, there's some very interesting advice or information about how we can get to that place of self-acceptance. And if you look closely, you can see that the woman portrayed on this card has had a mastectomy. And so that's why I included it, because, you know, that's a real difficult thing to go through. Accountability, radical honesty. Interesting that this woman is dressed in armor, similar to the armor card from Celia Melville's deck. Wishful expectations, the unknown, transitions, weeping wound, and broken dreams. So that's just some of the cards from the Lantern Oracle. And then last but not least is Threads of Fate Oracle, Shadow Edition. Here's, did I pull? I didn't pull the guidebook yet. I always want to say who the decks are by. This is created by Blair Porter and Britt June. And they're a duo that have created quite a few decks. They're a little bit on the pricey side, but the quality is incredible. So here's the first one. Paradox. Surrender. Underworld. These are the kind of rose petal finish cards. I mean, they're stunning. Death. The Revolutionary. The Void. The Outlaw. I've pulled this one quite a few times. Destruction. Withdraw. I'm getting little cards sticking together here. Speak truth. Release. Take risk. And then finally, shadow. And the guidebook for this is really great. Let me just briefly talk about that. So the cards are divided into suits. And the suits are the elements. So I don't see that. So it's earth, fire, water, air. And then ether or spirit. So there's 5 suits. And for the 4 elemental suits, each of the cards has information about that card. And then it also has associated with it an animal, a plant, and a crystal. So that's kind of cool. You can explore, so you can pull the card and explore the card. So let me just open to one. So I opened up to connect to the heart. So it talks about what that means. And then the animal is dog, which makes sense to me. The herb is hawthorn. And the crystal is rose quartz. And so funny that I flipped open to this one, because dog, hawthorn, and rose quartz are all really special to me. And I use hawthorn and rose quartz for heart healing work. So, and of course, most dogs, to me, hugging with a dog and snuggling with a dog is very heart healing. So anyway, those are my decks, oracle decks with attitude. Again, they're not all the cards in each of these decks is confrontive or in your face, or asking you to explore your shadow, but a good many of them are. And so they certainly are not hug decks. So I want to say thank you to Tegan for starting this tag. I really enjoyed thinking about some of my more attitude oracle decks. And thank you again to Laura for being my source for tarot tags. Peace and love to you all.